Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Transformation Time. Every Thursday, I host an episode of either Transformation Time or Read Behind the Scenes. My name is Diana Lizarazo, and today's guest speaker is Victoria Cluney. Now, before we get started, I want to share some exciting news with you. If you are an early adopter, then you want to be a part of my social networking platform. If you are an investor, if you are a mentor, if you are a professional, you want to get in early on this application. Why? Because you want to start building trust. You want to start building credibility. Because once this application is huge, people are going to be asking you why you're not on this application, because this is going to be the place where where people are going to be looking to see who you are, how you've done, and just get people's insights on who you are. So now let's get back to the show. On Transformation Time, our guest speakers are here to share their personal development journeys with you, to be able to share their experiences. And by this, they're helping you by showing their personal development journeys and the mindset shifts they've gone through. So if you're ready to get started, let's send some thumbs up, let's send some fire, let's welcome Victoria on the stage. Oh, there we go.
I made it.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So good. It's my day off today, so this is a nice treat for it. I always explain, like, when I take a day off my work, and then I get to actually do what I would normally do, like what I envision my life is going to be, right? When I'm a full-time entrepreneur. So feel like I'm playing right now.
That's amazing. I love it. Now, before we get started, let's just share with the audience a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What's your real estate strategies? And anything else you'd love to share about yourself?
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for having me. My name is Victoria Cluney, and I am 22 years plus in the Canadian Armed Forces. So that's a big part of my identity. I was born into a military family. I joined when I was 18 years old. And so a lot of how I approach my investing, my business, any type of relationships has that overarching. I also, from an education standpoint, I have a master's in organizational psychology. So again, lots of psychology driven strategies when I am investing. My portfolio is quite diverse, and that's usually a reflection of me. Like, I am quite diverse, and so I really enjoy, I don't want to say dabbling, because I've been doing this now for 20 years. I've been investing, and I started very young, but it really ranges between multifamily properties and a boutique motel I'm getting into tiny home village developments, and I'm partnered on an actual development project. So I've just had the range. I've had a glamping retreat before, short-term rentals, medium-term rentals. Sky's the limits. So that, I think in a nutshell, is who I am.
Love it. I love it. And I feel like one of the skills you're already talking about in there, which I kind of want to dive a little more into, is just that I feel like you have very much an entrepreneur mentality. It's like once we become, I feel like an expert in something, or we feel like we get to a level where we know things, you are kind of like getting curious into other things to kind of leave yourself, continue being motivated, and just be able to just keep yourself motivated and moving forward and enjoying what you like. Is that true?
100%. I'm constantly evolving. And so while it looks quite diverse to people and maybe not recommended, especially for beginners, I'm always adding on the skills that I've developed from previous experience, and I'm just leveling up and I'm enhancing it, right? So it's moving from having a short-term rental to a glamping retreat to now a motel. And now from like that, we're going into business with tiny home development. And so you're able to draw from all of your experiences, and they all fall under an umbrella, so like some sorts.
I love that. And so, what other skills would you say, let's say, even before getting into real estate, what are like skills that you had that were innate in you that you realized getting into real estate? You're like, oh, wow, like this is so beneficial and just helping me become even more successful in the real estate world.
I love that you're using that word because innate, right? Innate skills, that's very much from the psychology side of things, is I mean, from like just as simple as term is stubbornness. I was a stubborn child and I was independent to a fault. There was a part of me that really had to see things through and I never quit. And so from an innate child like development, have been able to cultivate that because again joining the military breeds that type of trait. It People with those types of personality traits can really thrive in that environment, and so I've been able to develop discipline, resiliency, perseverance. And so you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. It's about being the hardest worker. Of course, I want to work smart. Like that's my goal is always to get more and more efficient. But I'm not afraid to start things. I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I understand that's part of the process. So it takes a lot of pressure off of me when I want to go into a new venture because I have this mindset that, well, if Diana can do it, I can do it. I can figure it out. I just need the information, the resources, the skills.
I love that. I never thought of it actually in that way, the stubbornness. I mean, I've always saw stubbornness as a good thing as long as you use it for good. Because obviously there's stubbornness where you can just like it totally cuts you off from being productive or doing certain things that you should be doing. But I love that you said that because like that, it just helps in so many areas because you're just like, I'm not willing to give up. Like I'm figuring it out. Like you said, like maybe you may not be the most smartest person in the world, but you're like, I'm figuring this out. I don't care. It's happening. And it's like, you can't stop me.
That's right. That's right. And now, as I've matured and as I've grown and really honed those skills, it's really turned into more conviction. And that stubbornness will now be conviction because I have certain beliefs about and values and integrity that I'm not willing to waver on. And so while I'm open-minded and I'm always curious and I want to hear different perspectives, I have a very strong set of beliefs about who I am as a person and how I want to show up. And so that stubbornness that's turned into conviction is now guiding my decisions that I'm making, even when they're hard. It makes the hard decisions easier. Oh, that's awesome. I'm just reading Corey's comment there. Thanks, Corey.
I did see it. Why am I not seeing it?
It
But oh
says
yeah. Oh,
two
two
powerhouses.
powerhouses here.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I love that you said that. And any other skills that you feel that really has helped you propel yourself getting into real estate?
Interpersonal. It's a relationship game and like most people don't think about the people side of real estate, but I bring that to the table. I'm not a numbers person. I have again the stubbornness to force myself to do what I need to do in order to be good at numbers. I'm good at it, but it doesn't come naturally to me. Where having these types of connections and relationships, I could do this all day. It really fills my cup and energy for that. The other thing that I would say is from my background with my education, going through, the undergrad and the master's research. I have developed really strong research skills to be able to find the answers that I need from a reliable source instead of just taking things at face value. I'll do digging and I'll be able to formulate my own opinion based on collecting information. And so these are all things that I'm bringing to the table: psychology, human behavior, very very inquisitive, and I can find out why somebody does something instead of just responding and reacting based on my perception. I'm open to hearing what somebody else is and then being able to come to an agreement or some type of understanding or uh, not compromise isn't the word that I'm looking for, but it helps because when somebody feels heard, then, their walls are going to be brought down. So we can move forward quite a bit.
I love that you said those things because one, like you were talking about not being good with the numbers, I think it's so important to know that and acknowledge that because like you said, you'll be like, okay, I need to clearly partner up with someone that is experienced in that. And a lot of people don't. And I think a huge problem that we've had in these last 2 years were situations exactly that. Like people maybe don't know themselves well enough, are amazing promoters, are amazing networkers, are amazing at selling an idea, but who's behind there making sure the execution of that idea actually makes sense, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And or not putting the work in. It's like you can achieve that, but not taking the time to understand it because you're just going to focus on the things that feel good. And it's great to only have that. If you've got that team, it's wonderful, but people just don't put the work in, they don't put the reps in. I put a post yesterday that was all about confidence being built in the discomfort zone. And if it's and
Mm-hmm.
numbers to me are uncomfortable, I don't enjoy them. It drains me. I have to be very particular about the time of day that I run numbers because I'm just not in the right headspace if I'm feeling drained. And but I
Mm-hmm.
still do it because I know how important it is for my business.
100%. And like you said, right, it's like you may not be good at the numbers, someone else may do like the full-fledged numbers, but
Mm.
understanding and still going like doing at least a review and being in there involved in it is still important, like you say, because you can't also 100% trust another person. Like they may make a mistake, right? Or maybe you're still getting to know each other, understanding the type of analysis they do. And from that understanding if that risk level is too conservative or too in the opposite direction for some reason I forget the word but like too risky,
Yeah.
like it's like understanding yourself is so important and being able to run those numbers in a way, or I mean at least being able to review them and see them and make sense of them. It's like maybe like you said, you probably won't go like full on into like the nerd of it, but you're just gonna obviously like review, make sure like does this make sense,
Yeah.
and is it something I want to be a part of?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's funny because with the motels, I own a boutique motel, and I had never run numbers for a motel before, and I didn't really know anybody who had to be able to lean on. And so I was so conservative when I went and I put my offer in for the motel, and it worked out in our favor because we were not the highest. But I was not willing to go over and above like where my comfort zone was for that. And then eventually they came back to us and they took the offer. And so now we're very happy with that conservative approach because as from seeing the results of the motel, we would have gone higher.
Hmm. I love that. And I just want to give another shout out. CC Suit Knight says numbers are annoying but necessary, 100%. I think we both agree.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Corey again said, where we go? If it's not your unique talent, it's gonna cause more friction and strain for your energy. 100%. Yeah, completely agree. Like you said, it stresses you out. Same thing. I feel like I'm the opposite. I'm very much a numbers
I was going to
oriented
say your
person.
engineer background, no doubt. Yes. Yeah, we make a
And
good team.
yeah, and then so like the whole, let's say, selling a deal or all that stuff, I'm just like, so much work, you know?
Okay, I'm seeing some synergy here,
Yeah,
Diana. Let's
exactly,
talk. Yeah.
exactly. So love that. And so yeah, so and then you're saying also the research part again, so important. And actually, something even I agree with, like, it's something that you have to learn to do, which I think the younger generations, I feel like they've really learned how to do it very well. But much older generations, like I noticed this thing where it's something I actually noticed in university. And I mean, it goes, I'm sure, in any direction, but something I noticed in university was I came out of university, like, yes, I came out with a degree, but I actually came out with this experience of like, oh, I actually learned how to learn. I learned how to
Mhm.
research. I actually learned how to do these things that it was something that I can't say like I didn't really know the benefits of it until coming out of there. Because a lot of people say, like, especially in university, like, oh, I learned all these skills, right? Or I learned not skills, but like, I learned all these theories.
Right.
How am I applying this to the real world, you know?
Exactly. I know. You're exactly right. Like you learn how to learn, and I feel the same way because, of course, there were parts of my degree that I'm so grateful to have the knowledge, and I was able to go in directions that I was interested in. But I wasted a lot of time learning about things that I have no interest in that I will never apply in this world. And so, it's the process to go through it that has been very valuable. Same with communication, written, verbal communication. I lots of like writing that I would have had to do. I just finished like my thesis from my master's. That's an 82-page document right there
Well,
that so a lot of people use AI for their newsletters and whatnot. And I definitely am implement AI into my business. However, I still take that personal touch to write because I have not been able to find a way for it to be my voice. And I think it's important from that connection piece to be me. And you can see it a mile a minute. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it's very clear when somebody is writing to you using AI these days. And it just takes a little bit of the personal touch out of it.
hmm Yeah, I completely agree. And it's kind of like I would say like a nice little framework to get you started or like bouncing
Exactly.
ideas because it's true like it tells you things. So like, oh, I never thought of presenting it in that
Yes.
way or saying it in that way. So it's definitely it's I guess finding that nice
Exactly.
balance of, getting it, but then also putting in who you are, who your beliefs are, what your values are into that too. I love
No,
that.
absolutely.
Now getting into now let's look into the future. So what is like your big goals that you have and that 5, 10 year goal? And what changes are you making right now to get to those big goals?
So my like 5, 10 year goal is a lifestyle that I am craving and I'm so hungry for. There's definitely property on a beach somewhere south. Like I have the motel, which is directly on the ocean, but somewhere a little bit warmer would be nice for me and my family so that we can go and have that time. And I don't know what location that is, but that's the vision. Impact is a huge value for me, and I want global impact. I'm big and I want it to be something that is without boundaries and without, confinement. So I want to be on stages. I want to be, writing books. I want to be impacting people from all over, and I want to be doing things like this on a regular basis. I love investing, and so I will always be a real estate investor. I'll always be buying property, but I can see my shift and my transformation as we go through, as I develop my skills, leaning into the business side of real estate investing, but being able to enhance it even further because my background is organizational psychology, which is all about behavior in the workplace. And we had that conversation, and it's so aligned in the business world. It's skills that entrepreneurs are lacking today because you're just trying to figure it out and you can't know everything. So when I think about like a 5 year, 10 year goal, that's what I'm thinking. I'm living that lifestyle every day and I'm being able to impact entrepreneurs, people, run businesses, and just be able to grow these companies and do good with it. I have, goals from a philanthropy standpoint. I just adore children and I want to be able to help and support like our most vulnerable. So I just want to have that like endless option. People say financial freedom. It's very cliche, but that is, I want to be able to do what I want to do. And so
hmm
it's a vague, it's a vague outline. I have very specific 1 year goal, quarterly goals that is getting me towards that and growing my own community. So I have a wonderful mastermind mentorship type community. I don't call it a coaching program because I do show up twice a month and I provide coaching, but I'm cultivating this community of people that are prioritizing their health, their fitness, their mindset, as well as their real estate and their business. And so we're just, being surrounded by each other. And then I have revenue goals that I want to achieve. I have business goals that I want to achieve, both for my motel, for my tiny home builder company that I partnered with, and then for my own portfolio.
I love that. And so, like, so with all of that, what kind of things are you noticing that you're going to have to change to be able to reach those goals?
Well, the big one is my day job. So that is because I'm in the military and I'm under a thing called obligatory service because they were the ones that sponsored my master's. And so you owe time back, and it's going to take me to my 25th year. And I've talked to the military about this. They all know I try to be an open book. My plan at that year mark, when my obligatory service is done, so that's about 2.5 years left, is to then transition to the reserve. So that's more of a part-time role, and then I can go and I can work like consulting jobs for them, and I can do different types of jobs, but it's on my own terms. When
Oh,
you've
nice.
lived a life that has been controlled by an organization, like I'm just so hungry for that freedom. I love the military and everything and my job, but I do need that freedom. So that's step one, is going to be keeping that vision aligned. The way that I'm able to continue to grow while working, this is the big game changer, is really putting strategies in place where I'm developing a team. And one of my skills that I haven't brought up is delegation, leadership, management, and employee retention, being able to foster a culture and an environment where people want to work. So I have a great team that each have their own roles and responsibilities. So all like the operational stuff now that I used to do everything and get burnt out and just pull my hair out because it wasn't all my zone of genius, I'm now offloading to the down to my inbox. I don't even have my email control. Somebody else does that for me and then tells me what I need to know and then manages the rest.
I love that. That's great. It is so important. And I think that's very big to set yourself up in that way to be able to, like you said, be global, go bigger, because you have to set up this foundation to allow yourself to have the time to be able to be in your zone of
Yes.
genius or be able to be creative and figure out how am I going to be global or what's the best approach or evolve yourself in the way you need to. Like that time is so important to be able to know how you're going to evolve because I feel like a lot of the time is really like defining yourself or redefining
Yes.
yourself. Like who is this new person that is going to be global, for example? Like how do they behave? How do they act? What are the things they're going to be teaching? Everything. Like it's like you're creating a new person. So it's nice that you're setting this foundation to be able to create this new person that you're going to become. If you
Yes.
haven't already started, I'm sure.
Oh, every day, almost every minute, I wake up very early. And so my husband we always have this time together in the morning, and we have a hot tub, and we love it. And anybody on my Instagram sees my stories because I will post the picture of the sky or whatever it is. But that time, I'm just like buzzing. I'm every day just buzzing with ideas and things I need to put down on paper and creative approaches to what I want to do, and I'm constantly like refining. I always think
Mhm.
about that. Like there's so many layers and levels to me and so many areas that I love, and that it's just this constant refinement so that I'm not too scattered and that I can really hone in on what really matters to me most.
That's amazing. I feel the same thing.
Yeah.
When people tell me like they sleep in, and I'm like, why? I'm like, you don't know the amazingness that happens in the morning to yourself, you know?
Best. It's the best. I was just texting with somebody or on Instagram because they just mentioned like, oh my gosh, I'm so impressed with the time. And I was like, no, this is my favorite time of day when everything is quiet.
Yeah.
and
The
my
serene
heart's,
and peace, no? Oh my
yes.
God.
And I'm most clear. I don't know if that's the same for you. Like that is the time that I feel the most clear because when you've had a restful sleep, your brain is, activating. And so everything that you've just been thinking about in your sleep, you now you now have an obligation to yourself to get that down on paper.
Mm-hmm. And I want to give actually people a tip. I don't know if you were always an early riser, but I was not. And it was funny for me. It was another want that I wanted that made me start getting up early, and then started making me see the benefits of it. Because I'm sure like that, like the people who don't like waking up early, like you do have to give it time, and you do have to start like being positive about it and enjoying it. But for me, it was really funny. I started working in Toronto, so I was taking the GO all the way to Toronto, and I was hitting the rush hours.
Mm.
And I was used to a consulting firm where we're all young professionals, and so no one ever got sick. And then you go into the packed in like little sausages to Toronto. And then I went into the opposite type of company where it's like all families, everyone's getting sick.
Right.
So it was very interesting because I was like, I can't do this. And I got severely sick. Like I was out like I just like couldn't recover. It's like one sickness after the next, and then just a huge downfall and just like died for a month. And that was strange for me because before then I was not sick for
Interesting.
like I think 6, 7 years or something. Like a cold was maybe a day. Like that was my sickness. So to go from like a day to a month was crazy for me.
Yeah.
And my health is very important. So that actually motivated me to get out of the sausage pack trains. And from there, this like at the beginning I'd be like sleeping on, like I was like dying on the train because I'm just so tired.
Yes.
But then as things evolved, like I just really started enjoying. And I would always tell myself, I was like, oh my God, my stomach would be like in shambles when I'd wake up early, headaches. But then once I got past that struggle, and I guess my want was that strong enough to me, my health was so important to me that it was like, I am not being in that train like that again. And then I saw, for example, like you're in the train, no one at 6 in the morning is coughing. But yeah, like everyone seems to be healthier in the morning, like early. It was very strange. It's like completely two different worlds. It's like everyone coughing all over each other to
Wow.
everyone reading, no one's coughing and no one's getting sick. So it was to me, it was like that was my motivation. And I'm so happy I did it because the benefits are insane that I feel. I love it. So I just wanted
It's
to share that.
No, that's amazing. That'd be a really interesting study, I think, if somebody did that to see, do a comparison with the people. But I think I don't know if it's something that is natural to me or it's something that has just been instilled in me because, again, joining the military at 18, you don't have a choice but to wake up early. And then my habit is to work out. So I work out every morning, 6:30 during the week. I'm just like clockwork. I go in there
And is
and
that in the military too? Like you have to wake up and you
you
start working out?
usually, but then as you kind of go, once you get up in rank and you're not really being told exactly what to do at all times, then they give you a little bit more leverage so if you're with a group, then you have to do, we call it PT, so physical training, at the same time with your group, your section. That typically will be at like 6:30 in the morning every time. Gyms are packed in the military at that time. As I started getting up in rank, I wouldn't have a section to do workouts with, and I just implemented it on my own, and
And you
I
probably
never
felt the
deviated.
benefits of it, right? Like they put it in you, and then you realize, like, wow, I feel so energized or so ready to start the day, and it kept it there.
At first it used to be about, well, I'd rather be at the gym than the office. So that was the motivation and the why. But now it has become that because any job that I go into, that I always get told it's too busy to do training, and I always condition all the people around me, the people who work for me or the people I work for, that I am working out and I won't be at my desk until 9 o'clock because I'm doing PT. And for that, I don't have sick days because I don't get sick. Like, it's very rare for me to get sick. My energy level is through the roof. My clarity, the work that I produce is, 10 times
Have
more.
focus,
The
right?
focus,
Also.
everything. So I'm able to really convince or negotiate that time now in whatever job I do because my output is so much better. I'm like, you don't want me if I'm not working out. You don't want,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
you don't
You
want it.
want me to get my
Yeah.
optimal? I gotta get my morning routine done.
Yeah. People get used to it. And so for that hour that I'm not at my desk, I mean, they just get so much more during the other
hmm
times.
I love it. Yeah, even Barbara is giving you some
Yeah,
fire.
Barb.
Any final comments or tips that you'd like to share with the viewers?
My gosh, so many.
I
So,
know, right?
I think people miss the mark on their focus and where their focus is. And so this is something that I'm really, really passionate about. And even myself, I've took a dip on my priorities for the past year when I was finishing my master's, as I was growing multiple businesses and managing a portfolio. Just the burnout was coming, and I wasn't prioritizing my health and my fitness as much as I should be. To the average person seeing me during that time, yes, it was a lot. It's always because I'm very consistent. But the networking, right? I'm doing a lot of networking, and those are late nights, and you're usually having a couple drinks and you're eating out. And so it creeped up over time for me to a point that I really realized how detrimental it was because I was not feeling like myself. So I'm back on that journey to tighten things up again and put systems in place because I allowed my business to creep into my health, my fitness. And I just really try to talk to people and let them know how important it is to prioritize it because I think a lot of entrepreneurs and investors are going through that struggle. And especially now when things are tough, having that fitness is going to help with the clarity, the focus, the mindset, and it's not something to put on the side burner, and it's something that you need to put in front of everything else. And so it's just one of those things that until you feel it, you don't really realize it, but we just need trust at this point. And so anybody listening, your mind, your body, it's all connected, and your business.
Yes, 100%. If you are not 100% ready for the day, how are you going to give 100% to your business, to your outside world, whatever that is?
Yeah,
I love that you shared that. That is so important, especially like you said, in these times. It's just, this is even more when you want to make sure you're not missing out on what keeps you healthy and like mind, like I said, mind, body, soul healthy, because maybe those are the reason why some of the downfalls are happening is because you're not at your peak performance. So
absolutely.
thank you so much. If you guys loved what Victoria said, she's gonna be tagged on here, so you'll be able to follow her. You'll be able to see what she's up to. And if you guys love my shows, then definitely follow me too, so you can keep track of what I'm up to and what shows are coming up. Victoria, thank you so much. It was so
Thank
much fun
you.
to chat with you.
Awesome, Diane. I appreciate it. Thanks for the invite. And yeah, I'll be following along for sure. I love what you're doing.
Awesome. Bye, Victoria. Bye, everyone. We'll see you in the
Bye.
next episode.